Kirsch, who is the Associate Director of Placebo Studies at Harvard Medical School, who's hard to dismiss as a sort of radical anti-psychiatry person, Harvard Medical School, probably the world's leading expert on placebo studies in mental health. And we managed to get a lot of media attention around this because of the conclusions we reached were fairly, I guess to people who didn't know the research, were fairly surprising. Let's just look at, for a minute, at this slide, which shows that there has only ever been 11 studies in the whole history of this treatment, only ever been 11 studies comparing ECT with sham ECT, ECT with placebo. When you look at antidepressants, there will be 500, 1,000, antipsychotics, 1,000, 11. And none since 1985. None for nearly 40 years. In 85 and before, there were these 11 studies. Tiny, look at the numbers, tiny studies. They were all very poorly designed by modern standards, but this is all we've got to go on. 6 of them found no difference between the ECT and the sham ECT. So giving someone the general anesthetic without the ECT was just as effective as giving them the ECT as well. 3 found there was a temporary difference, no long-term, we'll come on to that. And 2 found these mixed results. It's particularly interesting, the one in the middle there, Johnston et al., which is a very famous study, where the psychiatrists saw a difference, but the nurses and the patients did not see a difference. I'm not saying who was right, I'm just saying, isn't that interesting? And then there's the one we're not sure what to make of, Brandon et al. Down here, where they did, often the patients weren't included in you know, do you think you've got better? The psychiatrist said yes, and they did ask the patients, but they decided not to publish the results. So we don't know what the patients thought. You can't do that in science. You can't pick which bits you publish depending on whether you like it or not. But this is measures taken within the first week after the series of ECT. The average number of ECTs in a series is 8. It's usually between 6 to 12, between 6 and 12. So after the last one, that's when these studies were. Is there any benefit beyond that? Only ever been 3 studies. You couldn't name a medical treatment that's only ever had 3 studies to see if it has any benefits compared to placebo.